Welcome, 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 mountain bike world, to the Crankworx Summer Series. We are here for the Summer Series stop number 1 in beautiful SilverStar, British Columbia, for the title Slopestyle. This is the ultimate slopestyle course in the Okanagan area, an absolutely spectacular backdrop for slopestyle today. The skies are blue, the trees are green, and we are ready. Temperatures a balmy 32 degrees, just peaking towards that hot level, but we are going to see some hot mountain bike action here at the SilverStar Bike Park for sure. My name is Derek Foose. I'm here with the most versatile man in mountain biking, pro rider and pro announcer, Mikey Hatter. Mikey, what's the vibe here like at the Crankworx Summer Series?
Oh man, it is amazing. It's so great to be back here. I was lucky enough to be a part of the BC series last year, and it's so nice to be in shorts and flip-flops and not thawing each other out with propane torches. So.
Absolutely. So as you said, Mikey, we're returning to SilverStar for the title slopestyle. The Crankworx Summer Series really offering riders an opportunity to kind of build themselves up into the Crankworx World Tour, and a great opportunity for riders to mix it up on dirt, coming up riders and mountain bike heroes, rock stars riding together. That's been the hallmark of the Summer Series, and I'd say so far working out pretty well.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's just one of those places where you can kind of rub elbows with the best, try your best against the best, and of course, on one of the best tracks ever built.
Absolutely. The title slopestyle track, this thing has become, in a very short period of time, already legendary. The SilverStar Bike Park crew, Matt McDuff, Brett Reeder, and the title crew, they really put their time into building this thing. They only cut trees where they needed to make sure that they kind of maintain the natural landscape. Mikey, run us through this course.
Yeah, well, starting things off with some of those trees they built this amazing whale tail feature, step up with a quarter pipe lip off, so getting a little bit of extra kick, maybe throwing some bigger tricks into this big step up feature. Kind of a safe landing, so riders able to do some of their more technical tricks with a very little consequence, and that'll roll things right into our flat drop. And we saw some amazing variations, some things that we haven't seen in a few years in slopestyle competition and qualifying yesterday, right into our 12-foot lip super booter. That rolls us into another big, massive berm, step up onto a surgeon's table, so step up onto another flat drop, so more variations without lips. Very technical. One more berm, and that's going to roll us right into our finish line booter. And we'll see who takes home the top spot in the title slopestyle.
That's right. So an incredible course. The riders absolutely loving it. Spectacular backdrop. Basically, one of the hallmarks of the Crankworx Summer Series is young guns and up-and-comers getting to go head-to-head with the big dogs of the sport. And speaking of big dogs, the riders that we have here are some of the biggest names in slopestyle right now. We're going to kick it off with David Godziek. He was on fire yesterday. I mean, putting down stuff, like you said, that we haven't either ever seen or seen in a very long time in slopestyle.
Yeah, so he did take home our top qualifying spot with starting his run off a little bit slow, but here we go into that half cap, choosing not to run a free coaster, so having to backpedal in that 180 and then off the flat drop straight into a twister. So the consequence there, all the speed you need to get those 3 rotations around, and then another 180 bar spin up, and then having to tail whip off of the surgeon's table. So the level of technicality there from David Godziek, in qualifying no less, is just kind of showing these young kids what they have in store for them if they want to earn that golden ticket.
Yeah, it feels like seeing a rider go switch onto an on-off feature like that is just going to unlock a whole new level of tricks potentially. I mean, just the imagination goes wild thinking about what David might be able to bring to the table with that piece now. We talk about big dogs. There are no bigger dogs than this next man. Nikolai Rogatkin is here and riding with his trademark frothing stoke. This guy, I mean, what more can you say about him?
You called it great yesterday, Derek. He is the hype man of slopestyle, not only for himself in the crowd, but for all the other riders, especially these youngsters. And again, so typical Nikolai style, just so many massive rotations and cleaning things up. He's looking so dialed on his runs now compared to years past. So he's another one that is definitely a threat for the top spot.
Anytime he shows up at a slopestyle, he is a threat. Speaking of threats, we got to fill you in here. Griffin Paulson, unfortunately, going down yesterday in practice with a bit of an ankle injury. Fill us in on that one.
Yeah, I got to catch up with Griffin after he visited the hospital. Just an uncharacteristic fall here. We were lucky to catch footed on a 3-whip, stomping his foot into the ground and actually fracturing one of the bones at the bottom of his ankle. So thoughts are with him, and he's still pretty, he's got his spirits pretty high, thinking that he might be able to ride Joyride, but taking his spot, another young Canadian. Who do we have, Derek?
Yeah, so from last year's breakout star to a guy who wants to do it this year, we watched yesterday Chance Moore put himself on the podium in this field. This young athlete is here to play, and you know, we saw him yesterday put himself right into the conversation, and that was only qualifiers. So, you know, you said it, I think, a little bit earlier. He's got some more to play with for finals today.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one today, you know, and this is exactly what Summer Series is about, showing the young guns what it takes to compete on the world stage with the world's best on this amazing World Championship level course.
Yeah, now another man we're missing today because of maybe over-frothing yesterday, Mike Ross. We saw him in practice put down a world's first, and it has just gone absolutely viral across the internet.
Yeah, he actually broke the internet with this. The world's first cash roll flat drop. So a frontside cork 720 off of a flat feature. So this is an Instagram clip. And Mike actually sustained a little bit of an injury in between this clip and his qualifying run yesterday, but still decided without any practice the day of to go for it in his qualifying run. Unfortunately, things didn't quite pan out for him. And we'll see, and here it is. He actually did the cannonball up and then in his qualifier just barely under rotating. So we're hoping to see him back in a couple weeks and maybe earn that next wild card spot in a Joyride, but that's a name to watch for years to come.
Yeah, definitely. Keep your eyes peeled on Mike Ross. So he's not going to be here, but let's take a look at who is going to be here. We have 15 of the strongest slopestyle riders on the planet here for the title slopestyle, the SilverStar Bike Park.
Starting things off, the French rider, Nico Terrier, is going to be one of his first slopestyle events. Moving on to the young Canadian, a couple mishaps in his qualifying, but able to sneak in yesterday, Ben Thompson. Bernd Winkler, we see him on the Slopestyle World Championship Tour. Another young Canadian sneaking in, Lieb and Bayless. David Lieb from the USA, Lucas Skjold from Sweden, Marcel, Toby Miley, the German rider, Elof Lind, another Swede, very technical. We're going to see some big things from him. Then we get into kind of the heavy hitters. Isted, Tom Isted, Lucas Huppert, Chance Moore. There we see him third qualifier yesterday, right behind the legends of Nikolai Rogatkin and David Godziek.
Legends indeed. The title slopestyle here at the SilverStar Bike Park just about to kick off. We are ready for action, and the action is going to be hot. Our first rider today in the title slopestyle here in the SilverStar Bike Park, Nico Terrier, the French rider, lighting it up yesterday and earning himself a spot into finals. 28 riders dropping yesterday. We whittled it down to 15 today, and there is a lot at stake for these riders. So the pressure is on, and French rider Nico Terrier on course, Mikey.
Yeah, Nico riding with the Lyon boys back home. One of his first slope styles, starting things off with a nice lazy backflip table into a 3 double bar to X up off that whale tail into this step up. 360 whip, getting those pedals back, almost missing that outside foot. Looks like a little pre-wind to the bars there, going into our flat drop feature. So Nicholas keeping things clean so far. 360 down, a little deep on the landing. He's gonna be wanting all the speed he can for this super booter. Huge 360 tuck no-handers, great extension. Backflip tuck onto the whale tail. 360 X up down, right to the top of the tranny. One more hit for the French rider. What does he have on the finish booter? Perfect front flip right to the top of the landing. He's got to be stoked with that.
Oh yeah, French rider Nico Terrier, yesterday he was kind of trying just to lock in on the run, and today he's looking like he's pretty satisfied with that. Always we see these riders come into the finish and just have that mix of stoke and relief for getting their run done, for locking it down, and we've got Nico now in the finish. So now we have the judges doing their work, hard work as it is. We had a good chat with them at the end of the day yesterday on the way they rank these guys and all the things they put into the run and the way they judge it. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how they do with this first run of the day.
Yeah, and it's always good to see the first rider pull a full top to bottom. And Nicholas actually getting that run super clean. It'll be up to the judges how he ranks up being our first rider on track. But based on the riding yesterday, that level is a pretty solid first run.
Yeah, so SilverStar Bike Park, the host here for the title slopestyle, and we are just waiting for our first rider score to drop in the first run of 15 riders. Everybody's going to take 2. Here we go, 75 for Nico Terrier, so that's a great way to start. Definitely the judges enjoying what they saw, amplitude, difficulty of trick, all of the things combining to give him a solid score to start things off. So we are right back up to the top. Ben Thompson riding out of Squamish. This was a young athlete who I think we felt didn't ride to his full potential yesterday. He had a bit of a scramble getting things going, and he is here. He's going to be really looking to light it up on the course today. Yeah,
actually had a kind of a good first run, maybe not quite where he wanted to be, and then actually a crash on a second run. Starting things off with that double whip, 360 double bar off of the whale tail. Again, such a technical feature. 360 bar to late downside whip. Such a high degree of difficulty on that trick. Throwing the tail whip as he's falling down from the jump. Such a scary way to throw the bike around. Into the flat drop. 360 double bar down. Front flip tuck no-hander to bar spin to tuck no-hander on the super booter. Back flip up the surgeon's table. Front flip drop down, a little bit of a case, but he made it out. One more lip for Ben Thompson. 360 downside whip, a little bit of a case, so not getting all the backside on that front flip drop and sapping some speed for the finish line. So he knows he can clean that up, but getting that front flip bar spin to tuck no-hander where things went wrong yesterday, that's got to be a big relief for Ben Thompson.
Huge relief, and such a high level of difficulty in that run. There are very few people in the slopestyle world doing flat drop front flips, and you could see the way his head snapped on that landing. There's a ton of impact. You're blind the whole way around, but he was able to get it around, and as you said, there's definitely going to be opportunities for him to clean that run up, but a banger run for Ben Thompson, a solid start to the first 2 riders. Only the first 2 riders of the day, and we've already seen some tricks that we barely see in slopestyle. So we just have to speak to the level of the sport right now. The riders are bringing their A game to this title slopestyle here in Vernon at the SilverStar Bike Park. Unbelievable riding already, and we're only 2 down.
2 down of first runs. Yeah, this is going to be one hot afternoon, both on the temperature scale and the competition scale. So waiting for our judges to tabulate the score for Ben Thompson. Right now, the score to beat, 75 even.
Yeah, Mikey, talk a little bit about what goes through the riders' heads while they're sitting in this space. All right, here we go. 82.33 for Ben Thompson. So moving into the hot seat and breaking into the 80s early on in the day. The judges absolutely loving that. And you can see definitely Ben's going to know he's going to ride back up, but there is some room for improvement on that for Ben Thompson. So a really, really good way to start. All right, well, we are straight back up to the top. Our Austrian rider, Bernd Winkler, had a really strong showing yesterday, and he's been kind of dabbling, we were talking about this before, dabbling now in speed and style. He's been in the slope scene for a while. Speed and style, the natural progression for somebody who's, you know, he's pretty speedy, but he's still, I think, at heart a slopestyle rider, and we're going to see his best as we see the Austrian rider, Bernd Winkler, dropping in for his run.
Yeah, Bernd, a 10-year veteran on the slopestyle world tour, so he's no slouch when it comes to this, but deciding to do the speed and style in Innsbruck. There we go, start tuck back flip to bar, and then a flip double bar. So already with the technicality, big cork 7, perfectly executed from the young Austrian. Little fast plant on the roller. Just those little extra things for the judges. Maybe not a point addition, but definitely shows the style. There we go, truck driver down the flat drop, into the super booter, pedaling hard, flip whip, exactly on the top of that landing. Precision riding right now from Bernd Winkler. Backflip, X up, 360 X down, a little bit flat on the landing, but able to use that full suspension slope bike, soak up the landing. 360 whip to late bar spin. Oh, just barely missing the front wheel and sliding out on that landing. He knows he had that one.
Yeah, that was so close to a great run, and I think quite likely a high score there for Bernd Winkler as we saw him just putting the tricks all down perfectly. The execution landing right up at the top. That one just getting a little bit short, but I think, you know, the good thing for Bernd, for the Austrian rider, is he's got another shot to go back up and try it again.
Yeah, and starting things off really technical with that back flip bar spin to late tuck into a flip double bar, and then on that step-up feature with that cork 720, getting all the way to backside. We've seen a lot of riders struggle for speed on that jump, and then here's where it goes wrong. The 360 downside whip to late bar and just doesn't quite get his hand back on the brake to get that bike underneath him.
Yeah, this is, watching that fall for Bernd there, it's a real testament to the way that the Brett Reeder, Matt McDuff, the title crew, and the SilverStar Bike Park trail crew were building this course. They put progression in mind, or they had progression in mind, but they also built it with an eye to safety. And you can see for Bernd there going down, but he's all good. He's able to slide out. The landing's nice and steep, and the way the transition lines up with the flight path, it's nice to see, so these riders can really push themselves but still walk away from a fall like that.
Yeah, riders actually speaking to that in practice, saying, the course is built to the point where you can cruise into it and coast into that finish jump, or you can sprint as fast as you want, and you just go higher, which is just more time to do higher degree and more technical tricks. So
a 51 even for Bernd Winkler. That's going to put him into third so far of the three riders, but we know if he can go back up and lock that run in, we are going to see him move way up the rankings here at the SilverStar Bike Park. So Bernd Winkler, he's going to take another shot at it, but straight back up, Lieb Bayless. This guy had a strong run yesterday, and he is one of these riders looking to really break out. This summer series is the opportunity for a lot of these young riders, whether they're international or Canadian, to bust onto the scene and show us what they've got.
Yeah, Lieb actually a wild card entry to this event. His best finish before, a 22nd at the Tom Van Steenberg Slope Invitational. So this is a really big opportunity for the young Canadian to really burst, like you said, onto that scene. Starting things off with a flip double bar into a 360. Looked like he went for 2 bars, almost missed it, somehow got the bars back, and you can hear the crowd into a double whip. You can hear the riders in the athlete tent at the top cheering him on for getting those bars back in his hands. He's regrouped, though, into the flat drop. Flip, a little bit corked out. That extra style going to help him with the judges. Double flip, such a slow rotation. Absolutely stomped for Lieb. Looked like an opposite 360 up, regular 360X down. So again, doing the tricks the opposite direction. Trying to write your name with your opposite hand into a front flip table, and he stomps it. Lieb Bayless, a top to bottom from wild card to wild run.
Well, full credit to this young athlete for taking that opportunity that he was given with the wild card and making the absolute most of it. Top to bottom, that run was so clean, packed with difficult tricks. The amplitude, you can't say enough about how difficult that is. The mental side of this game, like, you're a pro athlete in the bike world, the mental side, how much does it come into play when you're in that position?
Well, I can't speak to what it does on the top of a slopestyle course, but I can speak to what we're about to see on the screen, which is when something goes wrong midair, it takes a whole lot of composure to realize I need to get these bars back in my hand, and oh wait, I still have a run to complete. So big ups to the young Canadian to get his head back on straight and go right in to that double whip and flat drop feature after a near disastrous 360 bar tip at the top. So he's stoked to get a top to bottom, but he's going to clean that up in run number 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Just catching the bars like that on the double bar spin, and as you said, just holding on. So 69.66 there for Lieb Bayless, putting him into third so far. A solid start, especially as we said, knowing that that can definitely be tidied up. And if there's one thing I've learned about most of these judge sports is you do not scare the judges. When you scare the judges, the scores start coming down a little bit, and not catching your bars on a jump that big is definitely a way to do it. All right, straight back up to the top. David Lieb, American rider, another one with a strong showing. We whittled down from 28 riders yesterday to only the top 15 today. So everybody that's actually even here today has already earned their spot. And David Lieb right in the mix yesterday with his run. And he's going to be looking to earn himself a spot into Red Bull Joyride. As we said before, the top rider that isn't already qualified is getting that golden ticket. Is it going to be David Lieb today?
Well, we've seen David Lieb at the Slopestyle World Championship before at Innsbruck just last year. So there we go, backflip, bar spin to bar spin, rewind. 360 triple truck, so 3 bar spins there. And then into this 360 whip to bar spin on the step up. David, coming from a BMX background, another very technical rider, able to do a lot of his tricks opposite direction. And there's one of them right there, spinning towards his front foot. So opposite 360, gonna score high. There it is, big triple tail whip double tail, I'm sorry, on that super booter, 360 up, opposite 360 up, regular 360 bar down. Then one more jump for the GT rider, David Lieb. Front flip bar spin, getting corked out, but stomping it there. David Lieb, very technical run there. Top to bottom with a bunch of opposite tricks and multiple triple variations. That's gonna be a very high scoring run.
Yeah, definitely hitting all the boxes, ticking all the boxes that the judges like to see. And interesting to see the way that front flip goes on the final jump. David Lieb using the whole landing all the way to the rider's right side, nearly putting himself into the Red Bull arch, but definitely showing that control over his bike, the mastery of his craft as he's able to pull it off. And it's so exciting to see these riders just putting down their absolute best for this red-hot SilverStar Bike Park crowd.
Yeah, and there we see the tail whip, and then here's the truck driver down off that surgeon's table. And, you know, riders mentioning on that front flip trick, it's a trick that you can actually get a bit more distance on some of these features. So riders actually choosing to travel and make the jump longer by transferring to one side or the other on those front flip variations. Just making it a little safer, because as you mentioned before, you're completely blind the entire rotation until you actually are about to land.
Well, the score coming in for David Lieb, and the judges loved it. 88.33 for David Lieb. Mikey, you hit the nail on the head. Technical tricks, adding variations, going opposite ways on multiple features in a row. David Lieb really showing the deep bag of tricks that he's got here at the title slopestyle, and he is sitting in the hot seat with a hot score for as early on as we are in, and considering the riders that we still have to come, the level of slopestyle here is absolutely firing. So exciting to see. So David Lieb just put himself into the conversation to get himself back to the World Tour, back to Red Bull Joyride, but all the rest of these riders are going to want to have their say, and this man is no stranger. Lucas Skilled, Swedish rider out of Carlsberg. He's kind of studying, following the Swedish progression of just look up to the guy above you, and right now when the guy above you is Emil Johansson, you can bet that the technicality of the tricks in this man's pocket are going to be nothing short of spectacular.
Yeah, Lucas Skilled, he's got a silver medal from an FMB event earlier in the year, best result. So there it is, backflip bar, almost missing it. Oh no! Lucas Skilled, he's up, he's all right, cheering to the riders in the tent. Going for that backflip double bar, missing it on the first one, able to somehow get the bars underneath him and land safe, but he knew he did not have what it takes to get off of that quarter pipe exit for the title whale tail.
I mean, the presence of mind to be able to stop yourself in that space in the way he did by just basically pitching the bike sideways with only one brake, only a back brake on that thing, and not just skid off the next ramp, the step down off of that title on off box is just incredible. You can see him lock up the brake, toss the bike sideways there, and stop himself before he went short. That's a skill move right there.
If I'm not mistaken, it almost looked like he landed with his bars facing the wrong way, so his brake was even on the wrong side and facing backwards, and he was somehow able to use his size and probably big hands to reach for that brake lever and get himself slowed down. That was a great way to get out of a very bad situation for the Swedish rider.
Yeah, the Thomas Lemoyne, as we've seen in Speed and Style back in the day, it's, yeah, incredible presence of mind to reach back, probably with your thumb, to pull the brake lever on the wrong side. Well, luckily he's fine. We're going to see him lock in a second run. We're going straight back up to the top. Marcel Hunt, SilverStar. We're going to get behind this young athlete. British rider, got himself in through the qualifiers yesterday, which was no easy feat. So many good riders, so many good runs. And Marcel Hunt now looking to stamp his way into Red Bull Joyride, but he is on course, Mikey.
Yeah, he earned his way into the Magaza slopestyle with a 10th at Copenhagen. And there we go, backflip double bar, and then a cork 7 off. Oh, a little bit of a case, but it's such a high degree trick. Front flip on the step up, getting it back underneath him. So even after that little bit of a bobble, getting his head right for this flat drop. Marcel looking for a good result here and see if he can just earn his spot into Red Bull Joyride in about 10 days time. He's gonna have his work cut out for him. There it is, 360 down the flat drop into the super booter, sprinting hard. Backflip bar to flip whip. Looks like almost kicked his visor with that trick. 360 double bar up, flat flip down. Marcel into the finish booter. Backflip bar to tuck no-hander. Marcel Hunt, top to bottom. That little bit of a case on the Cork 720, really the only fault in that run. But it almost looked like on the super booter, he pulled so hard for that flip whip variation that he smacked his own visor with the bike and went full vertical for half of the run.
Yeah, you could see him just absolutely getting on the gas to make sure he got the amplitude after, you know, a little case like that on a course like this. It can sap just enough speed that you start to question whether you have enough for the next or the next or the next feature. You know, it starts to compound. But Marcel Hunt, top to bottom. So we'll have a look here, Mikey, at what got him into that spot.
Yeah, so that backflip triple bar straight into the Cork 7. You can see him ripping his neck around, trying to get every amount of that rotation. And then the backflip bar to late tail whip, and you can see the visor starting to go vertical there, kicking the bike away, maybe caught a front tire, but looks good now that he's in the finish corral. And just a moment ago we heard him say just a little messy, so he knows he can clean that up on run number 2 and maybe even add a few more variations.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite aspects of the way that slopestyle mountain biking is set up right now, and the functionality of it. The 2 runs, best run counts, gives the riders the opportunity to build some strategy in. Whether they throw their hammers on run 1 and then they can back it up with a victory lap on run 2, or whether they're they're doing a safety lap on the first run. Score coming in there for Marcel Hunt, 68.33, so dropping him into 5th. And strategy for Marcel Hunt in run number 2, I'm pretty sure is going to be go absolutely ham and try to put himself on the podium here at the title slopestyle at SilverStar. All right, well, we straight back up to the top German rider. Truly an international field for what is, essentially a local event, Crankworx Summer Series here in BC. The field, top to bottom, is just stacked with international riders. They're loving touring around Western Canada and having a real good time. So Toby Miley, another strong one yesterday from the Lone Valley in Germany. He is on course now, Mikey.
Yeah, his best result, a 10th place at Zuri Ride. So this is a great chance for him to really burst on to that top world tour. And there, double whip onto the whale tail, backflip bar off, already upping the ante from his qualifier yesterday. 360 whip to late bar spin for Toby on the step up. Again, a step up feature, so you don't have as much time to get those extra tricks in because the landing sneaks up on you a lot faster. Here into the flat drop. Tail whip down the flat drop perfectly to pedals, but he's gonna have to get on the gas for the super booter. Big backflip Superman seat grab and just a little bit over rotated. Coming right down on that tailbone.
So Toby looping out on that. We're gonna hope he's all right. That definitely looked like it hurt when the bike skirts out from under you and you don't have any arms or legs to put down to catch it and pad that impact. So hopefully Toby Miley gonna be all right. The German rider looking like he was on a bit of a heater at that point on this run. So hopefully he's okay. We've got use this opportunity to just mention we've got the SilverStar Bike Park Patrol, we've got the medical team lining the course. Basically, safety is priority number 1 for the riders from the beginning of Brett and Matt and the SilverStar team building this course to executing the event. The absolute most important thing, top to bottom. So we've got the best team on hand to make sure that all our riders are as safe as they can be, where of course there is some consequence to this sport. These riders definitely taking risks out there, but of calculated risks. They are incredibly skilled. So standings, Mikey, where we're sitting right now.
Well, right now, the young, or not so young, but USA rider, GT rider, David Lieb with a great score, that 88.3. All the technical tricks that he was able to pull with opposite variations. So really setting the bar high, but great. We see Toby on his feet, gingerly making his way off track. That is a pretty big impact. And here we're gonna see that backflip Superman, big extension, back to pedals, and you can see reaching for the brake, but not able to get enough hand on it to stop that rotation. And so that's about a 15-foot drop out of the air, straight onto the tailbone.
Yeah, heavy slam. So hopefully Toby's going to be able to shake that off and get back up to the start gate for his second run. I'm always amazed at just how tough these riders are. One of the things that they just learn how to fall, learn how to crash and take it. So unbelievable. Elof Lind, our next rider, the Swedish athlete, 7th at Eurobike a couple of weeks ago. This guy is on an upward trajectory, and we're seeing it now by the fact that he is, he was inside the top 10 in qualifying in a stomping field. Run number 1 here for this athlete. The Swedes, there seems to be something in the air, something in the water right now. Swedish slopestyle is in a great place.
Yeah, they are really growing talent out of the darkness in the winters. And Elof, one of those super technical, there it is, backflip double bar on, super technical, double whip off. Perfect transition there for the big Swede. There we go, 360 triple truck up the step up. And here we go, scrubbing off speed into this flat drop feature. There it is, 360 tuck no-hander. A pretty small drop to be able to get the hands off and get back down smooth. 360 to late tail whip there. Backflip bar to tuck no-hander up. 360 down. Looks like he maybe wanted another variation there, but keeping things smooth. Elof, 360 whip. Oh no, foot getting stuck on top of the seat there. He's just as confused as we are. That 360 tail whip.
Yeah, I mean, that run had everything. Almost every single one of those features had multiple variations on every single trick, and that was a strange one at the end. He doesn't even know what happened. Looks like he just didn't get his leg back over as he tossed out for the tail whip on the 360. Now he's checking to see what part of the bike ghosted him to figure out how to avoid that on run number 2, because he was meters away from an absolutely spectacular score and definitely a great run for the young Swede. Top to bottom, this run had it all.
Yeah, here we see the double tail whip off of the whale tail. That quarter pipe lip, very steep, so riders getting a lot of height, but it's tough for them to get the distance. And then here we see that 360 triple truck, so throwing the bars 3 times and a 360, and here's where it comes pear-shaped. You see that right foot not able to get over the back tire and somehow landing in sort of a knack-knack seat stander. And he's just, what happened there is basically the quote.
Yeah, exactly. That's a tough one to understand when you go back up and try to do it again, when you don't really know what went wrong in the first place, but you know what the result was, which is a truncated run and interrupted by not getting his leg back over the bike. But we know that if we did that run 100 times, he'd land that 99, and that was the one he didn't, so he's got it out of the way now, so he can go back up and lock it down. You can see he's still investigating his bike, trying to figure out how it betrayed him there.
Yeah, it definitely is one of those things where not sure if it's you, it's nice to blame the bike, but he's got plenty more in the bag. He's up all right, 2 thumbs up. He's gonna go back up.
50 points there for Elof Lind. That's going to put him into 7th position, and not the keeper for Elof, but we know if he can land that final trick, that's going to send him way up the scoreboard here in the title slopestyle. Straight back up. This man put himself right into contention, into finals with 1 run yesterday. Didn't even need to take a 2nd run. Tom Isted, British rider, he is a mainstay on the slopestyle scene. We see him everywhere we go, and constantly stepping it up and stepping it up and stepping it up. So really looking forward to seeing Tom Isted lace his run here.
Yeah, he's actually still an alternate right now for Joyride, so this is a great opportunity for him to solidify his spot at Joyride, and he's doing just what he needs to right there with the cork 7 up, landing a little over-rotated, but getting the backflip tuck off and landing perfect, not getting the case. Flip whip on the step up. So Ice-T knows how to recover from a slight bobble like that and put down the run he needs to. There it is, a front flip off the flat drop. One of very few riders doing that and doing it so clean. Double flip on the super booter. Truck driver up. Flat backflip down, so rotating both ways off the flat features. That's definitely gonna add to his score. And a front flip tuck no-hander on the finish. Absolutely bolts there.
Well, what a run there for Tom Isted. Yesterday we saw him on the step up, lose his feet on the pedals and continue on with his run, throwing those high degree difficulty tricks to get himself into this spot, into finals, where now he was able to put that run top to bottom, and he just laced it so well. So you can see he's pleased, he's getting high fives from all the fans. Tom Isted now, he has a run under his belt, which is a solid one, so definitely looking to put himself into contention for that golden ticket. As you said, first alternate into Red Bull Joyride, would love to take that alternate title away and just be in.
Yeah, and here it's starting things out with that big cork 720, just a little bit over rotated, you can see with the head slap, but choosing to take those extra pedals, knowing he needed the speed to get that backflip tuck no-hander out. And then this is where things went wrong in qualifying with the flip whip, but he stomps it perfect in his first run. We got a flat backflip off the surgeon's table with that truck driver up, and then into the finish. Absolutely massive extended front flip tuck no-hander right at the top of the landing, dead straight. Tom Isted has got to be happy with that for his first run.
Mikey, let's talk about the variation of a flat drop front flip and a flat drop back flip in the one run. Both of those so difficult to do, so different from each other. Tom Isted doing both in the one run. Scores coming in, ticking up into second for Tom Isted with an 85.33. Not quite able to unseat David Lieb from the hot seat, but putting himself right into that podium conversation. Tom Isted, is he got more? Does he have a little bit more in his pocket? We're going to find out on our second run. He'll be dropping late in that run for sure, as he is way up in the rankings, even with a few riders that we still have to go. Plenty of talent still left up at the top. 5 guys who all want to put themselves into contention and onto the podium. And this is another one yesterday who, taking the opportunity, Maximilian, German rider, super strong run yesterday, right in the mix with the top dogs, and now he is going to give himself a shot at Red Bull Joyride.
Yeah, he's actually been competing on the World Tour since 2013, the only rider in the field to compete at the Bear Claw Invitational, which hasn't happened in a good long time. There we see why. Double whip onto the whale tail, backflip bar to X back, super styly, leaving that X out hanging out. There we go, 360 Superman seat grab. Such a styly trick, a little bit of a nod to Eric Fedko there. Tail whip down the flat drop, now into the super booter. Backflip, tail whip from Max May. Veteran skill here right now. Truck driver up, just barely missing that foot. Tail whip down again with barely getting the foot on, such a high degree. One more lip to go. 360 double tail whip for Max May. Absolutely perfect landing there.
That last trick there for Max May, you could see him popping early on the lip to just match the trajectory from the takeoff to the landing so perfectly. And that was probably one of the cleanest landings we've seen on that bottom trick jump so far today. Clean run for the German rider. Another one. The judges definitely in deep today. They've got their work cut out for them as they're trying to figure out who's going to get the score. Is that going to be enough to unseat our hot seat sitter right now? We'll see. But look at this run, Mikey. Solid from top to bottom.
Yeah, starting things off with that double whip, and we talked about it earlier. That tidal whale tail has such a massive lip on the way in. You have to be so precise on the landing and to not case or go deep to have the speed for the exit jump out. And then on that finish, that 360 double tail whip, absolutely 2 bolts.
All right, well, we see Max May just anxiously, one of the most difficult parts of your slopestyle run, this one and waiting in the start gate, the 2 waiting periods where you're just waiting for somebody else to do something, waiting for the scores to come in. So just for everyone, this is run 1 of 2. Everybody will be taking 2 runs. So we're going to rack them up in order of their finish after run 1 and then run in reverse order for run 2. So the highest scoring athletes will drop at the end. So just closing in on the halfway point of this event today as we wait for Max May's score to drop. The judges taking their time with this as they are wont to do. They want to make sure they're getting it right, and there's a lot to consider in that run.
Yeah, with all the multiple variations and having to know which riders are spinning tricks opposite, which ones are throwing bars the opposite direction, it takes a little bit of time and a few reviews for these judges to get it right, and they did right now.
83.66 for Max May, so moving him into third spot. Multiple riders now in the 80s, and you can see he is a happy young German slopestyle rider in the finish area. Big smile on his face as he's into the 80s and into the top 3. Now, being in the top 3 with the 4 guys that we have at the top of this course is no guarantee of safety. We've still got 4 riders left who are all have one of the deepest or some of the deepest bags of tricks that you have out there, and this man is no exception. Swiss rider Lucas Huppert, we've seen him, I'm going to say, step up his game recently in the slopestyle world. He's gone from kind of a mid-pack rider to a podium threat at every event. So the training really working out for Huppie there as he is on course now here at the Title Slopestyle.
Yeah, Huppie actually working on some things just this morning, some firsts for him. We'll see if he pulls them off. There we go, backflip, double bar onto the whale tail. Double tail whip down, absolutely perfect landing there for Huppie. Opposite double tail whip there on the step up. You can see having to kick his legs the other way, a little bit unnatural, almost turning it into an airwalk, and this is what he just learned, his first one this morning. Let's see if he pulls it off here. There it is, 360 tail whip down the flat drop. First one of those we've seen from Huppie. Front flip bar spin on the super booter. 360 down whip up the surgeon's table, gets it back on. 360 double truck, manualing down the landing. Huppie is going for it here. Double backflip on the finish jump, Huppie!
Wow, the Swiss rider, top to bottom, unbelievably high difficulty on all of those features. He is jacked up right now. So excited to have landed that. The 360 tail whip on the flat drop cannot overstate how difficult that is to do it without a lip.
Absolutely, totally, unbelievably difficult trick without a lip, and he pulled his first ever attempt just this morning, did one other practice to do it, and this was his third try, and absolutely to bolts. So right now, double bar up the whale tail, and here, the regular direction double tail whip off, going into this step-up feature, but then here, off the last surgeon's table, that double truck driver just getting his bars back and manualing down the landing to get all the speed he can for this double backflip, the first one of those we've seen on the finish jump.
Yeah, lofty double backflip on that one too. Slow rotation, never looked like there was any chance of it not working out. And we're into the 90s. Lucas Huppert with a 91.33 and moving himself into first place. The Swiss rider absolutely slaying this title course. Incredible, incredible outcome for him as he went top to bottom. Just incredibly high level of difficulty. Can't overstate how hard that run was, how technical. And you could see it in his face when he came through the finish. He was hyped, and now he's deservedly sitting in the top spot here at the Title Slopestyle. So things getting very interesting as we get to the sharp end of the stick. Chance Moore riding out of Langley, hitting it at the Air Rec Center. Chance Moore, young Canadian rider, ready to go. He earned his way into the top 3 in qualies, and now he wants to put himself on the map. The title rider ready to, well, to blow our minds again.
Yeah, taking a page out of one of his fellow young Canadian, Derek. We saw him yesterday in the business polo shirt. Chance won the Red Bull best line 1 year ago. Now he's got to see if he can put down his best line on this slopestyle. There it is, backflip double bar to 1 foot cannon. Oh, slipping a pedal. So missing the trick on the exit. Let's see if he pulls together. No, he's going to take this one as a bit of a cruiser. He knows what it takes to get to that top spot. So it looks like this is going to be a bit of a practice run for Chance Moore.
Yeah, we saw yesterday some riders, when they made mistakes, I'm thinking specifically of Tom Isted, still throw their banger run because they wanted to make sure they got into finals. But at this point now, there's not really the same impetus. He needs to do his whole run or not at all. So with that slip at the top, he's going to get this as extra practice, and he wants to get down safe so that he can have a chance at the second run. So the Dump 3 crowd at SilverStar Bike Park, that was for you, and all of you guys were going to get behind Chance Moore because he's going to go back up, and I'm sure we are going to see a full pull from him on run 2.
So just a question for you, Derek, being in, from the ski industry and seeing a bunch of young riders come through in a competition like this, do you think that the pressure really gets to these young riders in their first main event? Or is this something that a youngster like Chance can overcome and really put down against the best?
Well, we saw him overcome it yesterday for sure. He's definitely got the headspace to do it, but putting yourself in that headspace in the start gate when the cameras are rolling and the crowd is firing and it's all to do and your heroes are the only two guys left behind you to drop in, that's a lot for a young athlete. But I believe the Chance can do it, and I think for these young guys, they get the opportunity, they're going to seize it, they're going to take it, and they're going to run with it because, you know, why wouldn't you? When you're up there, there's only two guys left, and it's David Godziek and Nikolai Rogatkin, and your Chance. Yeah, he's going to do it, and I think we're going to see a banging second run out of him.
So you're saying he has a chance?
Hey, all right. So you can see he's getting his first opportunity here as a rock star in the slopestyle world, signing autographs. The kids just flocking around. Chance Moore loving it. 60.33 for Chance. Definitely very much a practice lap for him once he lost pedals out of that coming into the whale tail. So, and also a smart decision not to try to toss something when you don't have your feet square in your pedals. These guys know what they can and can't do. And I think what's maybe so impressive for them is how quickly they have to make that decision.
And that's something we also haven't quite touched on, is the crowd being back here, which is so amazing. But speaking of crowd, the man who loves the crowd more than anybody.
The crowd favorite, Nikolai Rogatkin, his first run of 2 right now. He's at the top. This guy gets so hyped. He gets hyped at the bottom. He gets hyped for the other riders. He has just put on a show every single time he drops in, and we love to see it. And we know you love to see it, SilverStar. So when Nikolai drops in, we are going to get behind him. He is so exciting, always energetic to ride or to watch, and always exciting.
Yeah, Nikolai Rogatkin has just gotten his runs cleaner and cleaner every year, and here we see that cash roll. Absolutely perfect rotation, and another cash roll off. Nikolai back-to-back in and out of the tidal whale tail. Double tail whip on the step up. And here he comes into that flat drop, slowing up, making sure his speed is on point. Let's see which one of his variations he is going to go for. The fast plant 360 into the super booter. There it is, tail whip cash roll, frontside 720 with a tail whip, backflip up, 360 down. So different variations on every one of these tricks, even from qualifying yesterday. And here it is, the twister. LFG from Nikolai Rogatkin, stomping his first run here at the SilverStar tidal slopestyle, top to bottom, full pull. Speaking of the crowd, there's the man who loves it, Nikolai.
Every bit of emotion just pouring out of Nikolai Rogatkin as he went top to bottom, full pull, clean run, so many difficult tricks. The amplitude on his first air into the tidal whale tail. Look how much higher he was there than everyone else.
Yeah, Nikolai rotating so many different directions. He actually cash rolled in and cork 7'd out. So a frontside 720 to a backside 720, and then into this double tail whip on the step up.
Yeah, and you can see here, he went backflip on, 360 off, so there's going to be room for Nikolai with this run to actually add to it if he needs to. And then what a way to finish. I mean, he had the twister in yesterday to throw it over the finish booter. That is the money trick, and that is the time to do it. And you could see that release of emotion from Rogatkin in the finish area. So hyped to unleash that run. And the kids, the crowd, the fans, everybody loving it. It's so good to have the fans back. And this is only run number 1. All these riders going to go back up and do it again for themselves, for that spot in Red Bull Joyride, and for the enjoyment of the crowd. This, I can't say enough about how high he went into that tidal whale tail.
Yeah, using every bit of the lip. When on those cash roll flips, normally you actually have to pop into the lip, losing some of that amplitude by going with the front side rotation. Nikolai, though, getting every amount of height that you can. Man, this is a run that is going to go down for his run number 1, absolutely clean, as you said, with some room for improvement, with some variations. And we know he has those variations it's just going to be what happens with the next rider to drop in just a few minutes.
It's been fascinating to watch the evolution of Nikolai Rogatkin as a slopestyle rider. There's some things that have really changed over the years, like he's cleaned things way up, he's added variations, he's added different directional spins, and there are things that have stayed with him from when he first came on the scene. The stoke, the hype, the way he is just adding more rotations, the aggression that he tosses his tricks with, all of those things. So he's really kind of, you see him grow, but hold on to the things that make Nikolai and make him the man in the center of the fan scrum, because he is one of the all-time fan favorites in slopestyle, and we're really stoked to have him here at the title slopestyle at Crankworx Summer Series. I mean, these riders are here, the biggest names in the industry, and they're here at SilverStar Bike Park lighting it up for the fans.
Yeah, and I think Nikolai said it best. It's hard not to love this course, which is what brought a lot of these riders here. Nikolai, we're going to wait for his run #1 score.
Well, the score to beat right now, 91.33. So he's moved into second, Nikolai, with a 91 even. So only 0.3 of a point, 0.33, separating Lucas Huppert and Nikolai Rogatkin. So the judges feeling like not much in it, and they're going to send those two back up to battle it out in run #2 for supremacy. But of course, we are not done. We do have another man who's going to have a say in these standings at the end of run #1. David Godziek, Polish rider, Games gold a week ago. Yesterday in qualifying, he could have cruised on run #2, but instead of that, he put down a run that left our jaws on the floor. Multiple switch tricks in a slopestyle. I've never seen that before. And really, honestly, Mikey, with some room to add on if he needed to at the end of that. So David Godziek, he's got a big shoes to fill just after what he did yesterday. It's hard when you're in your own shadow.
Yeah, he can be kind of his own worst enemy or his best accomplice. And here we see it with a backflip tuck to bar spin. Big 360 tuck to bar spin out. Huge amplitude, and such a tall rider who makes almost the jump to the car. 360 double whip, and it looked like a late X there. And have to wait for the replay to see. And here's where we saw a trick we haven't seen in so long, but choosing not to, going for a tail whip on that flat drop feature, switching things up from qualifying yesterday, similar to Nikolai. And there we see twister tuck no-hander. There, 360 bar up. Double tail whip down, such a difficult trick. Almost no time to get those 2 full rotations in. There it is, cash roll bar spin. David Godziek, maybe changing up the formula a little bit after the scoring yesterday. Wants to see how this one stacks up.
The two warriors just hugging as Nikolai, we keep saying it, he's the ultimate cheerleader for everybody else. So this is really interesting for David Godziek, because there were tricks in there that he didn't do yesterday that are very difficult, but there's also things that he left on the table that he did do yesterday. So strategically, I'm actually not really sure what that was about. Maybe he's trying to add all the pieces, and then in run #2, if he puts them all together, then we'll see the run of runs here in slopestyle. But Godziek definitely opting to leave a couple things out, but then adding some real difficult ones.
Yeah, there we go, starting with 2 double variations, the backflip tuck to bar and then the 360 tuck to bar, right into the 360 double whip. So upping the ante from yesterday, and then here that double whip down the surgeon's table. Not very many people willing to risk 2 tail whips on a flat drop no lip feature, and then into that cash roll bar spin. One of only 2 riders able to pull variations on those front side 720 tricks. So David Godziek still needs to beat your leader, Lucas Huppert, the Swiss rider, with a 91.33 in run #1, setting the bar high. So here we go, scores coming in, Derek.
Ticking up, 94 points for David Godziek, dropping into first place. So knocking Lucas Huppert out of first and Nikolai Rogatkin. We are in a qualifying event, and we have 3 riders in the 90s. And those 3 riders all already qualified for Red Bull Joyride, so they are doing it for the honor here and doing it to honor this title slopestyle course. Incredible run for Godziek. And what maybe, Mikey, is more exciting to me is there are things he didn't do on that run that we know he can do, that he can add even more level of difficulty. What a first run. We still have a whole second run. Everybody is going to go back up. We're going to re-rack them in order, in reverse order of their finishing position. in run number 1, and we're going to do it all again. So we're just going to take a short break while we get the riders back up to the top. But incredible action on run number 1 here at the title slopestyle. It gets me so hyped there watching the title team just slay this title slopestyle course. We are here with Ben Sheath, the brand manager for title. Ben, welcome here to SilverStar. We just want to kind of get a sense of what the brand is all about. I mean, title, where did it come from? It's pretty new, but it seems to just be everywhere.
Totally. So title started from Brett Reeder, obviously, being a professional slopestyle rider. Basically, he just wanted to make a company of his own where he could put his own imprint on different products and make stuff that could be used at the highest level of slopestyle and all types of mountain biking.
So really just looking for the components that he wanted to use, and he thought, well, I just might as well make them myself.
Exactly. Put his own fingerprints over the different styles and stuff like that. So yeah, that's how it came to be.
Speaking of fingerprints, you guys have your fingerprints all over this course. Tell us a little bit about how Tidal, as a brand of components, moved into building this amazing slopestyle course.
Definitely. So as Brett was a professional slopestyle rider himself, obviously, he was very familiar with the sport. And I think he just kind of found that there was a bit of a lack of opportunity for Canadian and North American riders. So we thought, hey, let's build a slopestyle course in collaboration with SilverStar, put on the event, and give people in North America an opportunity to enjoy some real slopestyle.
Yeah, one of the things that we heard from Brett and Matt McDuff was they built this for progression a little bit. It's not all the biggest hits that you're going to see around the world, but it allows the riders to kind of build up their tricks and then be close enough to what they're training on at home that when they come into an event, they're able to actually kind of hit the ground running.
Absolutely, yeah. I think the focus was really to build features like you would see on the Diamond Series type of events, but build them in a way where people are more comfortable to try their tricks and kind of progress. And I think that's really translated based on the level of riding that we've seen out here this week especially.
And speaking of level of riding, obviously we have some of the world's best out here, heavy hitters, but it seems like Tidal is not only sponsoring some of the best guys on planet Earth, but we've got so many up-and-comers, and we're seeing them on track here today. Almost every one of our young riders, men and women, are able to throw down and are supported by a company like Tidal. So how did that come to be? Is that part of the vision?
Absolutely. Like circling back to Brett's vision, yeah, he definitely wanted to have higher end riders, if you will, to kind of help get off the ground running. And then he also wanted to, like I said, provide opportunity for some of the up and coming riders to have an opportunity to be treated like a professional and give them the best chance to succeed.
Well, I think it's pretty admirable and also fairly clear to say that it's working as we're seeing some of these young Tidal athletes mixing it up with the best in the world. Big thanks, Ben, for joining us here in the booth, and thanks to Tidal for putting this on, and Brett, Matt, and the SilverStar crew for the build. It's just, I mean, it's showing everything we knew it would, and to see it in all its glory now with the, it's bedded in after last year and everything, magic time. So SilverStar Bike Park and the Tidal Slopestyle delivering today for Crankworx Summer Series. Thanks so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you guys very much.
What a day here in the SilverStar Bike Park, delivering on the promise. Crankworx Summer Series, we're stop number 1 in the Summer Series here this year, but holy, what we have seen already, Mikey, fireworks.
Yeah, to think this is not even part of the Slopestyle World Championship Tour, and we're seeing a level of riding that any other day you would see at a finals at Joyride. So this is just run number 1. I'm actually absolutely mind blown, and we've still got a re-rack and a whole bunch of more riding to come. So we're going to take a look, though, at our top 3 from run number 1 and a few of the bangers that we did get to see out here, which I'm still trying to process what happened.
Top 3 just taking our breath away. We'll start out with Nikolai Rogatkin. Always exciting, always entertaining. Today, no different. The amplitude, Mikey, that he put on that first hit.
Yeah, going cash roll into cork 7 out, and then that 720 cash roll tail whip. One of the only riders able to pull that off. Lucas Huppert, we talked about his work that he's put in over the offseason, and right now, sitting in the #2 spot, it's paying off right there. The multiple variation tricks in and out of the whale tail, and then the double flip on the finish. Hoopy stomping his run and learning tricks even just today.
Yeah, the dawning of the age of Hoopy here, and then the man, we waited till the end to see it, and really surprising us, honestly, with the makeup of this run.
Yeah, you know, changing things up from qualifying where he did a couple of those half cab trips, but adding that double tail whip off the flat drop. I don't think we've seen many of those ever in slopestyle competition because so much can go wrong so quickly. And then finishing it off with, again, with that cash roll variation. Only 2 riders able to do variations on those frontside 720s. It's going to be a nail-biter of a final.
Yeah, and I think it's a real testament to the depth of David Godziek's bag of tricks, that he can roll out a couple of things yesterday that we'd never really seen before and leave those today and still put down a first-place run after run #1. Without those, I mean, who knows what he's going to be able to combo and put together for run #2. But what I can tell you is the state of slopestyle right now is red hot. We have up-and-comers. We have very established top-level riders, and they are battling it out neck and neck, tooth to tooth, elbow to elbow here on this title course in the SilverStar Bike Park. It's just incredible to see. Mike, I'm so excited for run #2 already.
Yeah, it's going to be just one of the most explosive slopestyles we've seen in a while, and I keep bringing this up, but it really is so great to have fans and spectators back on the hill. We can hear them here from the announcer booth as soon as riders drop in, and that only feeds the level of these riders. We talk about it with Nikolai, but every rider on track just goes that much harder and wants to throw down that much bigger when they can hear the crowd going nuts. And so after that, you know, bit of a break in all of our lives, it's so amazing to have these people back on the hill here at SilverStar.
Yeah, fan reaction matters, and the fans here are on fire and loving what they're seeing. So let's take a quick look at where we ended up after run #1. We've got our standings here. So Swedish rider Lucas Skilled, these are kind of runs that didn't go to plan, either with a crash or a serious mistake for all these ones. So all the way pretty much up to Lieb and Bayless, we're going to see these riders looking to put the run they want down.
Yeah, definitely looking for improvement both on score and definitely on placement. And there's a few in this bench that we can see. Chance Moore, your #3 qualifier, he's one that we're really going to watch out for. Same thing with Ben Thompson. Ben Thompson didn't quite have the perfect run that he wanted, but still was good enough for 7th. Max May, a great run for him, backing up his qualifier from yesterday. Then we're into those heavy hitters, Tom Isted, David Lieb, and then your top 3, Nikolai Rogatkin, Lucas Huppert, and David Godziek. They're going to be the last 3 to drop here in the final. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see who keeps upping the ante and see if we're going to see a victory lap from these top 3 or if we're going to see David Godziek uncork even more out of his bag of tricks, which we know he has.
Fireworks coming up for run #2 in the title slopestyle here at the Crankworx Summer Series in the SilverStar Bike Park. Just about ready to kick things off for our second run.
And it looks like we are ready. This is the Swedish rider, Lucas Skilled. Just chatting with him. He tried to help me with the Swedish pronunciation of his name, and I just could not get it. But he gave me a fun little snippet that the translation of his last name actually means shield. So Lucas the Shield is doing his best now to put down some armor and throw down on this title slopestyle line into the whale tail. What does he have? This is where it went wrong. Backflip double bar, perfect this time. Truck driver off into the step up. There it is, 360 whip the long way around on the step up. Here we go into the flat drop. This feature pretty new to slopestyle, only been around maybe 5 or 6 years, and already so many variations there with the 360 X up here into the super booter. Backflip tail whip with huge amplitude, absolutely stomping the pedals. Big tail whip up the surgeon's table. 360 down. Looked like maybe wanted to throw a variation there, but happy to get out and smooth. One more jump for Lucas. Big backflip invert, that shoulder buzz. Such a stylish trick, especially on the taller riders. So Lucas the Shield, stoked to get a top to bottom run there. Definitely gonna be improvement Let's see where it stacks him up in this very stacked field.
Yeah, interesting on that one. It kind of looked like about at the surgeon's table elevation, he maybe took his foot off the gas of some single tricks. So curious to see if there was a reason behind that or if he just got to that point and kind of knew where he was in his run. I mean, these riders know exactly what they have to do. They know the whole process, and they know exactly what the judges are looking for. So if it's not going exactly where they want it to go, it's possible. I mean, I'm not in his head or inside his helmet, but it definitely kind of had that look where all of a sudden we saw a few less combinations. But loving this final trick. That's just one of the most stylish. It reminds me of Tommy G. 360 with the table just clicked like that. Just it puts a smile on your face no matter when you see it.
It may not score as high as some of the multiple variation tricks, but that is one of the steeziest tricks in mountain biking. And I think maybe speaking to, as you said, he maybe eased off the gas off the surgeon's table. I know Lucas was at the top talking to the riders yesterday and asking how tired the rest of the riders were going into the final jump because he felt absolutely gassed having to sprint for some of these jumps. So possibly fatigue setting in a little bit on this track. So upping his run #1 score, obviously, but 64.66.
Yeah, so 11th there. So we know we're going to see Lucas skilled in the slopestyle world for a long time to come, and he's a smart young rider. Definitely didn't want to put too much on the line there if he wasn't going to be able to match. I wonder too on the mental side of the game when these riders, the younger up and coming riders, watch what Godziek, Rogatkin, and Huppert have done. If you're up at the top and you don't have that, are you just kind of overwhelmed?
I would say probably not, because there's still points in the FMB World Tour to fight for, and then still trying to up your game and possibly earn that wild card spot into Joyride. So there's still a lot to learn and a lot to gain from really throwing down your best run. We'll see if the German rider coming up next can do that.
Toby Miley in the start gate and ready to get things going for his second of two, looking to improve on the last run score as he wants to put himself, into the conversation at the top of the ladder here in slopestyle, here at the title slopestyle course, and he is ready to go as soon as he feels ready. Then we're going to see Toby Miley dropping in on the slopestyle course here.
Riders, luckily with slopestyle, it's not like a race start where your time to go is right at that moment. I believe they give them about a 2-minute window to be able to drop in for their runs. And so Toby waiting for the conditions to be right where he wants them, knowing some of the tricks that he has in his bag and knowing what features to do them on.
Okay.
There it was. We got the okay from the young German. He's dropping in. Title slopestyle course run #2. Into the whale tail, double tail whip up perfectly to pedals there. Backflip, bar spin down. No case this time, so even more speed into this step up. There it is, 360 whip up the step up. Getting all the way to the backside. Maybe not quite as much amplitude as some of our other riders, but still a difficult technical trick. Here into the flat drop. A tail whip down. Now we go into the super booter, sprinting. Backflip, bar spin, perfectly stomped there from Toby. Bar spin up the surgeon's table. Tabletop down, looked like he wanted to set up for a 360, maybe not quite comfortable, so into the finish line, still pedaling hard, into a whip, so Toby Miley just happy to make a top to bottom there with a little mistake, but...
And the crowd loving him as he comes through. You can see he's just looking kind of gassed. I think the amount of practice runs that these riders have been doing day to day, day after day after day during this Crankworx Summer Series stop here at SilverStar, it's got to be starting to take its toll on their energy levels, right? The fatigue kicking in, going back up, and even just pressing, pedaling into every one of those jumps. When you add it up over and over and over again, how much does it take out of them physically?
Oh, absolutely. Slopestyle, some of us race mountain bikers and especially cross-country guys don't think that it takes much effort to get down these jump courses, but these riders pumping every amount of those landings and the G-forces on these lips for how fast they're going and the height they're getting. It takes a massive amount of strength. And in the heat like this, I know a lot of the European riders not used to this level of heat and definitely not the elevation either. it really can take your toll after 5 days of practice.
Not to mention adrenaline. Adrenaline is actually exhausting. When you're riding this course, every single time you hit one of these features, you got to have your heart in your throat, just, you know, kind of hoping for the best. So 55.33 there for the German rider, Toby Miley. He's going to be in 13th so far. Yeah, adrenaline definitely exhausting. So these definitely coming to the end of a week like this with so much practice, and then an event yesterday, back-to-back events for these riders. Taking a toll on them. We're straight back up to the top. Another young Swede, Elof Lind. He had a solid run going, and then it just kind of came apart at the very, very end. Not able to get his foot back over the back tire on a tail whip. So really hopeful to see Elof taking a big step up the rankings and in score with this second run.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be looking to clean that up, and we know he's got a lot of technical tricks, and here we see those backflip triple bar off, and then a double tail whip down. So double variation and triple variation there. Then a 360 triple bar on the step up. We said technical riding is a Swedish mainstay, and Elof Lind right now is proving that to us in run number 2. Into the flat drop, 360 tuck no-hander. Landing a little inside, having to get out to that berm to get extra speed. 360X to late tail whip. Then into the surgeon's table, backflip bar to tuck no-hander off. 360 down, so multiple 360 variations on the flat features. Into the finish, there it is, the 360 whip, perfect to pedals this time. He knew where they were. That was a freak fluke occurrence, and he is stoked.
2 hands up for Elof Lind. That was a redemption run, and as we said, 9 times out of 10, he'd get that bike back under him on the 3-whip, and he was able to do it there. So clicking top to bottom, absolutely firing. Exactly, that's what we were thinking up here in the commentary booth as well. So the Swedish rider throwing something out there to Team Sweden back home. Hopefully you caught it and you understood it. So Elof Lind, crowd favorite. The guys down in the finish area absolutely loving it. He's loving it. Great to see a rider come back. The mental fortitude to go down in such a strange way in run number 1 and come back. It must have been nerve-wracking to toss that 360 whip at the last jump again on run 2.
Yeah, and not only to come back from that, but also upping the ante on the run, adding a couple extra bar spins and a couple extra variations to his run from run number 1. So cleaning things up, adding variations, and then stomping his finish trick that kind of took him out of the running on run number 1. So he's going to get a great improvement, but let's see if it's going to be enough to earn him into that coveted wildcard spot or even on the podium.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of great runs that the judges are going to have to weigh that against, and the degree of difficulty that we saw at the pointy end in run number 1 was so high. It was so high that we'd never basically not seen anything like that. So a 68 flat for the Swede Elof Lind. That's going to put him into 11th currently. 68 points for Elof as he rolls out, and we continue on with this title slopestyle. Huge thanks to so many of the people involved getting this thing off the ground, the Destination SilverStar and Tourism Vernon folks, just making it happen, keeping the wheels turning. And wheels turning, well, Bernd Winkler, the Austrian rider, had a 51 on run number 1, put him into 15th. He's going to want to improve that, Mikey, for sure.
Yeah, that was just another one of those runs going so great until it came apart at the very end. So Bernd, he knows, 10-year veteran of the slopestyle sport, knows how to do it and what he needs if he wants to move into that top spot. There it is, backflip, tuck no-hander to late bar spin, backflip bar. Looked like he wanted to get a second bar spin in there, but able to get it around. There it is, the cork 720. No, just a bit under-rotated.
Bernd Winkler, unfortunately, going down there. He's had a bit of a tough day, has our Austrian slopestyle hero, so he's heading back up to get the crowd hyped up. Yeah, just a little short on that cork 7, unfortunately. That step up can really make or break a run. It's not a big distance that you have to clear, but it puts you pretty high, and so sometimes that distance is tricky to travel when you're putting all your energy into the amplitude. You still do need to cover the distance over the gap.
Yeah, and the coming out of that whale tail feature, because it is a quarter pipe lip, you go very, very high, which means you fall from such a high level. Landing needs to be real steep, or you need to land absolutely perfect to keep that speed into the step-up feature. So this is a show run for the crowd here at SilverStar. Bernd could just be cruising it, but he's choosing to throw down for the folks here on course.
SilverStar getting behind this event like no other. It's so great to have a live crowd at the title slopestyle, and this crowd is getting fired up for these riders. All of them just bringing the heat. You can see he's got a smile on his face, which we're really glad to see him wrap that up. And we're really grateful for the whole crowd being here on site, having a blast here at Slopestyle. Crankworx Summer Series really living up to the billing, living up to the hike, or the hype, I should say. So 35 there for the Austrian rider. Bernd Winkler is going to stay in 15th currently. Probably not what he was looking for, but great to see him down safe with a smile on his face.
Yeah, he's going to be looking to head over to Whistler in just a few weeks' time, and mentioned earlier that he wanted to do a bit more other disciplines. He did speed and style in Austria a few months ago.
All right, we go back to the top. The Langley rider, Chance Moore. Chance in third yesterday. Not quite the run he was hoping for in run number one. He lost his pedals in the whale tail, lost the up pedal in the whale tail, and then just kind of cruised. He's in 13th right now. He was in third yesterday. We know this young athlete has what it takes to compete at the top level. He's young, but he is competing and riding well beyond his years. Mikey, Chance Moore.
This is going to be a nail biter. Everybody here in Vernon is behind this young man. Into the whale tail. There it is. Backflip, triple bar spin. Perfect. Cork 7 down, right on the top of the landing. Sprinting hard into the step up. Front flip, bar spin on the step up. Stomps it for Chance Moore. Here's he's going to collect his thoughts, regroup a little bit into this flat drop. What are we going to see from the young Canadian? There it is, truck driver down, absolutely picture perfect into the super booter. Backflip, bar spin to late tail whip, and no, just barely landing on the seat, getting fully compressed and bounced off the bike.
Late tail whip is right. He tried to pack that in the last 2 meters of airtime that he had. Chance Moore just about able to put it in there too. This is one of the things that you see riders start to, I guess, remove from their runs as they age, as they get a little bit more experience. Those last second additions, you can see him, he throws the bike and just unable to actually get it locked in to ride away. Mikey, that was so close to perfection.
That was absolutely one of the ridiculous tricks. I miscalled in the first one. It looked like it was a backflip double bar to late tail whip, so throwing 2 bar spins, and explains why he was having to throw that tail whip so late in his airtime on that jump.
And you saw him pedaling his guts out into that, and I was wondering why he wanted to go so fast, but that explains it. When you're trying to essentially do 4 things in one jump, that's a lot to pack into that flight path. And unfortunately for him, the tail whip just not able to get clicked back into landing position as he came down. Impact looking like he ripped his rugby jersey there a little bit, but good to see Chance Moore. I am very confident we are going to see big things out of this young man. All right, well, we are going to head straight back on up to the top. There's no rest in the slopestyle world. British rider Marcel Hunt, 68.33 in 10th. Is he going to be able to move himself up that ladder? He certainly would like to, and we know he's got more in his pocket. Marcel had a strong run last time, but a few spots we saw where there was going to be, there was room for him to just add, you know, the judges said you can always add another bar spin.
Yeah, as he even said at the bottom of his run, a little sloppy, so he's going to try and clean things up and see if he can get that golden ticket into Joyride. Backflip double bar. There it is, the cork 7. A little bit smoother that time, still a slight case, but instantly getting on the pedals, and then into the front flip. Perfect stomp on that step-up feature for Marcel Hunt, the British rider, riding for Cro-Mag, Canadian brand. Good to see them here at the slopestyle circuit. 360 down the flat drop. Into the super booter. Big backflip X gone wrong for Marcel Hunt. So we're gonna let our SilverStar medical team take a look at him.
Yeah, it just looked like he couldn't get back, get his bars back in his hand and pull that back around. So Marcel Hunt going down hard. Unfortunate to see these riders definitely, you know, right on the razor's edge, time after time, run after run. and hopefully Marcel is going to be all right there. We are going to, send the medical team out to have a look. The SilverStar Bike Park Patrol, as well as the doctors on site, have the riders' safety in mind. So this is where we ended up after run number 1. David Godziek with a mind-bending run. Lucas Huppert and Nikolai Rogatkin in any other event could have easily been on the top, and then Godziek just showing he had layers and layers and layers of tricks on lock.
Yeah, and just behind him, actually, a great showing from the American David Lieb, that 88.33. And then Tom Isted trying to, there we see Marcel Hunt is up and moving, so great to see he is vertical.
Yeah, moving off the course under his own power. Extremely happy to see Marcel get up after that heavy, heavy slam. Really, yeah, that was a confusing one. Not sure. We'll have to check in with him after the event and figure out exactly. Maybe, Mikey, you can...
Oh, there it is. Looked like he went for the backflip bar and then was going to throw a tail whip, but didn't catch the bars the right way round. Again, catching the bars with the wrong hand. And then once he's upside down, he was ready to throw the tail whip. With the bike being 90 degrees to the landing, there's not much he could do besides bail out, and facing backwards, it just turned into a huge scorpion slam.
Yeah, we'll head back up, and we have still just a stacked field of riders at the top, all vying for that coveted wild card spot into Red Bull Joyride in Whistler. Liam Bayless with a 69.66. He's in 9th so far, and we saw a couple of singles, a 360, a backflip, where he's going to have the opportunity, if he's got it, if things are firing on this run, to add a few things. Liam Bayless, an exciting young rider. We have so many exciting young riders here in this slopestyle event. He's getting ready to drop in for run number 2.
Yeah, Liam getting the wild card entry even into this event, and right now sitting in top 10. But he's got more in the tank, he said. There it is. Oh no, single backflip bar up. 360 triple truck down, it looked like. These riders throwing the bar so quickly on that feature. Double whip on the step up. A little bit of a bar spin there. As the judges said, you can always throw another bar spin. Here into the flat drop. Corked flat drop, so stylish. Getting tons of speed for the super booter. Perfect double backflip again from Liam into the surgeon's table. Opposite 360 up. Regular 360 X up down. So again, doing that opposite trick, gonna up the degree of difficulty. 360 tail whip windshield wiper. Somehow gets out of that clean, nowhere near on the bike. Runs out of it, but that 360 tail whip to tail whip back, we call that a 360 windshield wiper. Just almost missing it.
Yeah, one of the most technical tricks you can do in mountain biking. And Mikey, I mean, the ability to kick that bike back around when it's come whipping out of the tail whip and just catch it with your foot and toss it again back around the other way. As you said, didn't really look like it was close to coming back under his feet, but he managed to just, I don't know, make it look like it was no big deal.
Yeah, and here we see the backflip single bar at the beginning of the run. You know he wanted to add a little bit more variation there. But there it is. Looked like only a double truck off. Again, these riders spinning so fast. And here we see that 360 windshield wiper. He actually does get around too far. He over-rotates the windshield wiper back and misses the seat and pedals for the grab on the way down, but just slides out of it smooth. And oh, to be young and 19 again.
Yeah, so Liam Bayless, that's going to be a 48.66. He is still sitting inside the top 10, which is an incredible achievement for a rider who was wildcarded into this event and had to compete against 28 people just to get to this point. So inside the top 10, he's going to rocket up the FMB standings. That's an exciting finish for that young rider, and one I'm sure we're going to see plenty more of. Well, we go back to the top in 8th with a 75. He was the first man on course this morning when we started here at the slopestyle track, and he put down a strong first run. Nico Terrier, the French rider, manualing into this run, getting things started with a bang.
Yeah, he is hyped. The energy level is up for the French rider. Backflip, tuck, no-hander. Looked like he wanted to throw another variation. There we see 360 double truck to X up off the whale tail, landing smooth. There we go, 360 bar in. That shadow working really tough to see these tricks on that step up. Definitely have to catch that on the replay, but into the flat drop here for Nicolas Terrier. 360 down, stomped, perfect on that, cranking hard into the super booter. Huge, that big 360 tuck no-hander. Reminds me of a good Martin Soderstrom 360 from back in the day. Backflip, tuck no-hander off, 360 X up down, transferring over to the outside, making sure he has all the speed into the finish booter. Front flip, tuck no-hander for Nico Terrier. 2 clean top to bottoms from the Frenchman. He has got to be happy with that, Derek.
Yeah, a solid run top to bottom, and you can see he's grinning ear to ear. It feels so good, and the riders are just constantly talking about how much they love riding this course. And when they get that top to bottom, the feeling is just undescribable. So Nicholas putting all the pieces together, so many tricks, so many variations. He's got a 75 on run number 1, which was a really high number for the judges to toss out for the first rider of the day, which I think is a testament to the strength of his run. So we'll see if he's able to step that up a little bit in terms of the score and also the placement, where that's going to put him.
So a little bit of a deduction on that one. I think the level raised a little bit, so the best he's going to be able to do today is 8th with that 75 on run number 1.
Yeah, and a top 10 in this field, I think, is going to feel like a victory there for the French rider. Nico Terrier in 8th right now with 71. We're going right back up to Ben Thompson, this young man riding out of Squamish with an 82.33, and incredible that an 82.33 was good enough for 7th in this field. He is on course again. We're going to see if he's got any more in the tank.
We know he does. Everybody here knows this young Canadian and knows what he has in his trick in there. Double whip perfectly to pedals. 360. I can't tell if that was 3 or 4 bar spins, but I'm going to call it 3 into a front flip tuck no-hander. Gets it around, even with that near miss of the bars on the step down. Ben Thompson is throwing caution to the wind right now and trying to put down the banger run and see if he can make his way for that golden ticket. There it is, truck driver down the flat drop into the super booter. Front flip bar. Little bit over rowy, but keeping his speed. Oh no, missing the trick up. So I think he maybe wanted to do the front flip bar to tuck no-hander. So Ben Thompson, 1 more jump to go. He's gonna keep his run number 1 score. So put your hands together, SilverStar.
Letting that one go. It's so precise, the demands of this course. If you lose even the slightest bit, looking like he's got a sore wrist there. So I think that's what shut it down for Ben Thompson. Yeah, Mike, I think you're exactly right on that front flip. He definitely looked like he landed pretty heavy. The front wheel coming in hard on that one.
Yeah, but starting the run off with a banger right there. The double tail whip up the whale tail. And here, let's see slow-mo. 1, 2, 3, 4 bar spins in a 360, somehow catching it, and then going straight into a fronty tuck on the step up. So Ben is all smiles, but it looked like that front flip bar spin on the super booter gave him a bit of a wrist stinger, and he just decided to cruise in safe.
Yeah, so he's going to hold on to that first run score, 82.5, and that's going to keep him in 7th position as we move on there from Ben Thompson, the Squamish rider, to the German rider, Max May. He had a great first run as well, 83.66. And again, these scores and where the rankings are, it's incredible. 6th place for the German rider. We know he has a few more things that he can do. We saw a couple in there that we were able to identify, and we know if we can do it, then he can definitely do it. He is on course, Max May.
Yeah, Max, a true veteran of slopestyle, as we said before, one of the only riders to complete in the Bear Claw slope contest. And there it is with the double whip off the start. Backflip, double bar down. So there, a little bit of an improvement again on run 1. Here we go, that big 360 seat grab can. Such a styly trick. Again, one of my favorites, and a nod to the German Eric Fedko. There it is, tail whip down the flat drop. Into the super booter. Backflip tail whip. Super stomp, very top of the landing for Max. Truck driver up. Another tail whip down, so upping the ante with the degree of difficulty on those flat features. Then 360 down whip to bar spin, or to tail whip back, just missing on that final lip. Getting it back around. Wow, these 360 windshield wiper tail whips are something we've only seen a few times in slopestyle competition, and now we're seeing them twice today, Derek.
Twice. I remember watching Brett Reeder do it at Red Bull Joyride and being absolutely mind blown that it happened, that anybody even thought that was possible. And now we're seeing up and coming riders doing it in Crankworx Summer Series event. That was another incredible run that we just saw from Max May. So top to bottom, so difficult. The double tail whip in. You talked a little bit earlier, Mikey, about catching the landing way up high, just to allow the speed to continue to build, which they need to be able to then make jump after jump after jump.
Yeah, and then going into that finish, going that 360 down whip, it looked like he might have, on the approach, I thought he might have been going for a 360 double down whip, but when he caught and kicked it back, it was going to be very close whether he was going to get that underneath him, and unfortunately, again, just missing the catch on the rewind and having to slide it out. So he's going to stick with that run number 1 of an 83.6, and best he's going to do today is 6th.
Yeah, Max May, that's going to wrap up his day. He was pretty pleased with the score on run number 1. You saw a big smile across his face. So unfortunately, going down there, hopefully he's all right. Definitely looking like he's moving a little bit gingerly, Max May, but we head straight back on up to the top. Tom Isted, we saw him yesterday make his way through the field, pretty much razor precision, ninja precision, with a pretty big mistake, but then carrying on the run. And now Tom Isted, he's in the top 5. He has had a spectacular first run.
Yeah, he had a pretty much bolts first run, but we know Tom is a veteran of the sport, and he can do what we like to call the safety run, the run that he knows he has dialed. And if he wants to up the ante, and for him, there's a lot to gain here by upping that run, because he could earn his way out of being an alternate for Joyride and earn the golden ticket. So he is on the start list guaranteed. So let's see what he does here. And again, with the cork 7 up, no, not getting the pop. Right as soon as he came off, there he is, hands to chest. He knew at the very last second that that was not going to end well. And somehow, making his way, able to run out of a cork 720 onto that massively tall tidal whale tail. So the best Tom's gonna do is that run number 1 score.
Well, Tom, I said, yeah, just looking like he was a little short. I'm so impressed with his ability to run that out and not really even take his body to the floor at all. He managed to kind of ninja his way out of that move, out of that I mean, I'd call it a crash, but he didn't really crash. His bike crashed, but he stayed on his feet. So just a testament to the coordination and the physical skill and the mental wherewithal of these riders to be able to pull that off, know it's not going right, and somehow almost magically be able to stay on their feet. So really happy to see Tom Isted. He's down. He's walking. He's all good there. He's going to be a bit bummed, I'm sure, because he wanted to up the ante from run number 1, but he is healthy. And it looks like his one handlebar is a little bit bent there.
Yeah, that bike took all the impact there on that cork 7, but we're going to look back up the hill.
This is insane.
All right, well,
How did I dodge that many bullets?
Are straight back up. David Lieb, 88.33. He sat in the hot seat for a while. And David Lieb is now looking at not too many guys ahead of him.
That was a wild card moment for sure.
We're gonna, I don't want to make any wild claims here, but he's looking pretty good for advancing out of this into something very special. David Lieb, he's only got Rogatkin, Huppert, and Godziek ahead of him. So he's just waiting for the wind. You can see he's smiling. He knows what's in front of him right now.
So David Lieb, the American GT rider, currently sitting in 4th, just off the podium. Let's see if he's gonna up it and take home a podium spot. Straight backflip, no, looks like he's gonna do this as a victory lap. So I think David Lieb, the smart, calculated American rider, knows a little bit of something about where he sits in the finish right now. So he's gonna take this and cruise down and sit on run number 1 score. But Derek, that might mean that he takes home something maybe even more coveted than a podium run here at the title Slopestyle and SilverStar.
Yeah, I mean, you could hear him at the top in the camera mic just saying, I can't believe I dodged that many bullets, referring to all the other strong riders in this field that didn't manage to slide in ahead of him. If you're wondering what we're alluding to, we'll get to it soon enough. But David Lieb, he is beyond stoked right now. This is a happy rider as he is putting himself into the conversation and into the big time.
And this is, again, one of my favorite parts of having the spectators back here on course is The Groms at the bottom of every slopestyle are almost like gear scavengers, just praying that their favorite rider is going to hand them a glove, hand them a goggle strap. You can hear some of the kids asking for helmets, asking for grips. These are such super fans of the sport at such a young age. To have them back on course here at SilverStar is absolutely amazing. So David Lieb going to keep that first run score of an 88.3, just off the podium in 4th.
Yeah, exciting moments here, David Lieb. So the only 3 guys ahead of him are 3 of the biggest hitters in the slopestyle world. David Lieb stepping into the pressure here. All right, and we are getting official word that David Lieb is going to be the recipient of the wild card, the golden ticket into Red Bull Joyride. The 3 men ahead of him are all pre-qualified. David Lieb is going to Whistler and is going to be dropping in Red Bull Joyride, the wild card. It's so good to see this man just step into the pressure, deliver. I mean, such an incredible, strong run there for David Lieb in run number 1. And then he knew at the top. We were still unsure. We wanted to make sure we had the math correct, but incredible day for David Lieb. Really exciting stuff. But we are not done. Slopestyle continues, and the next man in the start gate, one of the most exciting men that you could ever hope to watch in a slopestyle run, Nikolai Rogatkin. He has a 91 under his belt, and that's got him sitting in 3rd. Nikolai Rogatkin dropping in for run number 2.
He is all focus right now at the top. He knows what he has to do if he wants to take down that 94 of David Godziek, and he's starting things off with that cash roll into the cork 7. Little bit of a case there, so not quite what he wanted on that, but a triple tail whip on the step up perfectly to pedals. So upping the ante, he knows what he needs to do. He is a true veteran, one of the only 2 riders to take home the Triple Crown of slopestyle. Is on course right now with that fast plant 360 off this flat drop into the super booter. There it is again with the cash roll tail whip, even more dialed that time. Cork 7 up, oh no, a little bit over rotated onto the surgeon table, and the crowd's still going nuts.
That was huge, Mikey. He went so high above that, and that one, of all of the features on this course, you got to be so precise. Even a hint of an overshoot on that, and you're impacting yourself into the ground, which is exactly what Nikolai just did. He went so high, missed the transition on the landing, and just pancaked himself down onto that wood. But in true Nikolai style, just finding a couple pedal strokes. Amazing that he can just get the speed from nowhere there.
Yeah, into the finished crowd. This is for you. You know he's going to do something, and he does. That's Nikolai, ladies and gentlemen. Goes down in his run, on pace to take the lead, and still throws the banger at the finish. So put your hands together, SilverStar.
And you can see Nikolai there, just his hands up, just wondering what might have been. He had everything going for him. He had a significant step up in difficulty from his first run, and just slightly overshooting. If you see Nikolai go down, typically it's an overshoot, almost never an undershoot. If he's going to do anything, it's going to be too much. Look at this, Mikey.
And here it is, the cork 720, and it almost looked like he maybe caught a little bit of a gust there, and it pulled the bike tires out from under him, because he was going to be landing almost 900 on that 720 based on the rotation. So he knew that it was time to let go and slide down that surgeon's table.
Yeah, he tossed a leg out there. Glad that, I mean, he wears those burly ankle braces because Nikolai knows that the impacts that he's putting onto his body are just so intense. But glad to see that he's all right, hopefully at least mostly all right from that. He's down in the finish. He is adored by the fans. For sure a rider favorite. So we're gonna head back up to the top as we have only 2 riders to go, and these 2 riders have opted to do this for SilverStar, for the fans. Lucas Huppert and David Godziek gonna run a train on this title slopestyle course, both of them deciding they cannot do more than what they did in run number 1. So Polish rider and Swiss rider in slopestyle harmony here as they're just chatting, all smiles up at the top. This is one of the coolest parts about this sport, Mikey.
Yeah, the camaraderie between these riders, you know, it is all business as soon as they drop in, but the moment they cross the line and finish a run, it is all about giving props to your homies. So SilverStar, put your hands together. The victory laps for Lucas Hoopy Huppert, 2nd place today, and then David Godziek chasing him down. This is all for you, and you can hear that crowd through the camera mics right now, absolutely going insane. And these riders still throwing down. There it is, a 360 ET and a tuck no-hander. And then a huge 360 table from both the riders, just so stylish, so big. Switzerland and Poland. Oh, David choosing to go back up. Uh-oh, we may be seeing something interesting from Godziek. He decided to turn around on the surgeon's table. Let's see if we can get the camera back up to the top. Oh, he dropped a chain.
Yeah,
oh,
I don't
no.
think he decided to do that. I think that was decided for him. So David Godziek, chain come off in his victory train there. Tuck no-hander off the surgeon's table. What, just the spirit of mountain biking alive and well with these two. And Godziek just tossing.
A casual cash roll, you know, because as you do when you've just won the title slopestyle here at SilverStar.
Well, this three-way hug here, three of the biggest names in slopestyle. And I got to give a huge amount of credit to Lucas Huppert. He's really stepped up his game to put himself on a level with these other two. Godziek and Rogatkin we kind of expect, but Hoopy has stepped into a new stratosphere, I think, of slopestyle. And I think the age of Lucas Huppert is dawning right now. We're seeing it. I'm going to call it. So for the rest of the season, at least, we're going to see him in the mix for podium runs across the board.
I can fully get on board with that. Upping the ante all offseason and even upping the ante while he's been here on this title slopestyle course. So just such a great afternoon of runs. Great to see all these riders making it down relatively safe. And what a podium. Nikolai Rogatkin in third. Lucas Hoopy Huppert with a podium here, and then David Godziek, after just a week ago, taking home an X Games gold, backing it up here with a title slopestyle gold. Absolutely amazing riding from these riders.
All right, so there are our three top riders of the day. Incredible, the camaraderie. Make sure if you're on course, on site right now, 4:30, we're gonna be rocking awards in the main SilverStar Village. We're giving away some giant, oversized novelty checks, some Crankworx Summer Series hardware, and we are gonna see some big grins as we move on to our podium at 4:30. So the crowd absolutely fired up here at SilverStar, and of course they should be. That was a red-hot performance from the who's who of slopestyle, and one of the real stars of the show, that title slopestyle course, top to bottom, rider favorite, and we are so excited to be able to deliver on that. What a day we just had.
Yeah, this has been one of the most amazing slopestyle competitions I've seen in a while.
Okay, well, we are here with David Lieb. David, the grin uncontainable right now. You know, you just put down, basically leaned into the pressure, and you've earned yourself this. It is the golden ticket to Red Bull Joyride, the highest finisher that wasn't pre-qualified. David Lieb, tell me what's going on in your head right now.
You know, this is so unreal. Like, for so many years, I've been working as a slopestyle competitor to get to the next level, and then, you know, there's been a lot of obstacles along the way, but to come here and secure this, you know, it was obviously kind of the goal, but when you don't get it, you can't beat yourself up too bad. However, like, when you do get it, it's just like, it's the best feeling in the world, and we're going to take this opportunity, capitalize on it, and see where this thing takes me, you know? So I'm really excited for the Red Bull Joyride course as well. I've been seeing a few sneak peeks of the course, and it looks like it might be right up my alley, so I'm excited to try it out.
Speaking of courses, we can run through your run here. What did you think about this title slopestyle? We've heard it's a hard course not to love, and you threw down an amazing run that we're going to see some highlights of here in a second. What are your thoughts?
You know, this course, I'm a big fan of this course. Honestly, it's long. It feels like an authentic mountain bike course. You have a lot of creative features. It's in the woods. You know, there's just so many epic factors about it. I really like the fact that it's built by riders for riders, and yeah, it's an honor to compete here on the course that these guys built. Really thankful.
Yeah, and so here's your run that got you the golden ticket, and we see so many tricks there. Let's just say, now you're going to Red Bull Joyride. Looking at this run, do you think you got more in the tank?
Yeah, I saved a few things in this run in case I had to do a second run. I was ready to do them if I had to, but you know, at this point, we're gonna save all the extras for Red Bull Joyride.
That's awesome to hear, David. So great to have you out here. So, congratulations on earning your ticket to the unofficial Super Bowl of Slopestyle. We'll see you in Whistler in what, about 10 days time?
Yeah, right after Big White, headed to Whistler, and it's gonna be awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you.
No worries.
All right, well, let's take a look at what got us here. David Godziek taking the W with his first run. Lucas Huppert dropping himself into second, and Nikolai Rogatkin, the top 3, all in the 90s. Mikey, David Lieb punching his ticket into Red Bull Joyride, and then Tom Isted, Max May, Ben Thompson, like this all the way down into 8th. We barely get out of the 80s. High scoring, heavy hitting runs all the way through this field.
Yeah, it's one of the most stacked fields we've seen at a gold level event. You know, this could be a final at a Slopestyle World Championship any given day. And we're just seeing kind of the beginning of almost a changing of the guard, maybe. Some of these younger riders really stepping up.
All right, well, changing of the guard may be coming, but it didn't come today. And the guard, the old guard, the usual suspects, David Godziek, wow. I mean, what you just did with this title course, it looked like it was a playground for you out there. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I felt really good on the course here, especially if I was here last year, and I really had so much fun here.
Speaking of being here last year, how much were the conditions different and really playing to your advantage? You know, with a 3rd place last year, now taking home the win. What's your comparison with the take home?
It's definitely much faster this year, so a bit less exhausting at the end, but still hard to do it to the bottom. So yeah, was better conditions helped to do better tricks for sure.
So, David, I want to talk a little bit about the contrast between your run yesterday and your run today, because they were quite different. There were some things that you brought in that you left on the table that you did yesterday, and a few things that you added today. What was the strategy behind that? We didn't see the switch tricks that yesterday kind of blew all our minds. So maybe run us through why you chose the run you chose.
Yeah, I'm always trying to do the save run first, so I can go loco in the first run, so I have some points. So I decided to keep it for the second run, which I didn't have to do it, so
so I want to get this straight. What you did on your first run, that was your safe run for today.
Yeah, I was feeling pretty comfortable with all those tricks. It's just hard to link all them together. 8 features is really a lot.
Well, 8 features is a lot, but I think we've got even more than that coming up next week in the Red Bull Joyride. So this will be almost 3 separate weeks of competition back-to-back for you. What was it like to go from an X Games competition now to a title slopestyle, and then knowing that you're going in to Joyride in just a few days' time?
Joyride is just another contest in the schedule, but coming here from X Games wasn't nothing comfortable. Was riding the pump track here on the first day of practice to just get used to the mountain bike again after X Games. So it wasn't easy.
It wasn't easy, but now you're going to be on the mountain bike for the next couple weeks, and we're looking to see big things from you from Joyride, yeah?
Yeah, for sure. Can't wait.
All right, well, this guy firing shots across the bow of every other slopestyle rider on the planet, putting his safety run down and blowing our minds. David, thank you so much, both for coming and chatting with us and for your run today. Spectacular. Can't wait to see you in Whistler next week.
Thank you so much. See you next time.
Well, race fans, slopestyle fans, what a show we have had today. Top to bottom, end to end, front to back. Spectacular. I would like to thank Mikey Hatter for joining me in the booth today at the title slopestyle. It's just been a pleasure to work with you. And this slopestyle course, the real star of the show, as we see our top 3 men and a golden ticket punched to Whistler. Join us at Whistler Joyride, or at Red Bull Joyride in Whistler next week. Come to Whistler for Crankworx. Summer Series wrapping up here. We'll see you all in Whistler.